Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next round of hospitality talks. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Kitty Newman from Trapeze Media this afternoon, and we're going to talk about all things HFSS and LHF, which I am going to get Kitty to explain in a second. But first of all, Kitty, could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Kitty Newman and I run a marketing agency called Trapeze Media. We do digital marketing and work quite heavily in the hospitality, tourism, and events sector. And that is why I became obsessed with the less healthy food advertising ban because it directly impacts a lot of the work that we do.
Okay, so LHF, less healthy food. HFSS, there's all these acronyms. What's HFSS?
HFSS is high fat, salt, and sugar content of the food. And that's how we get our scores for each menu item. But the less healthy food ad ban, LHF, is the latest government legislation on how to advertise HFSS food. So that's where we've got the distinction and all these
Perfect.
acronyms.
Brilliant. So, in a nutshell, Kitty, LHF ad ban, what is it in a nutshell?
Well, the nutshell is very tricky here, Joe, because I want to also caveat anyone watching this to be trying to make notes and be like, yes, I've got my strategy for how to advertise my food as of now. Please do take this as a non-complete rundown of the rules because you really do need to look at how this impacts your personal business. But all that being said, the less healthy food ad ban is a total online ban of any paid advertising featuring less healthy food. It also includes TV advertising any less healthy food before 9 o'clock. So the less healthy food that we're talking about isn't just kind of all menu items, it's certain categories. So it's cakes, pizza, breaded items, ready meals, etc. There's a list of 12 categories. And within those categories, you look at your menu items and you get a score, a nutrient profile modeling score of over 4. We're talking less healthy. Under 4, we're all good. So there's no restrictions upon them. So that's the rule as it stands. I've been particularly interested in the online ban. So any paid social, paid search, or paid influencer activity. As of January 5th, 2026, it's a total ban for featuring any less healthy food.
So, how come you've got to know so much about this? I mean, we know from the group chats we're on that everyone always comes to you for anything to do with LHF. How have you got so involved in this?
Well, it started because I could see that this was going to directly impact the work that we were doing.
Mm.
Um, about a year and a half ago, this legislation has been coming for about 4 years, though. It's only with Labour's manifesto to really cut down on childhood obesity that it got pushed through for this year. Um, so I just needed to get on top of it. And so last year I ran 4 or 5 events with experts from the IAB, so policy experts with the from the IAB who work directly with government, feeding back on the legislation, of which I was a part of, talking with restaurants last year to find the gaps in the legislation and push back. So I've been directly involved in that, working with policy experts within UK hospitality as well, and various other lawyers involved in other large organizations like Tesco Retail Media, um, building my knowledge base. And it's ended up actually me being involved in running marketing workshops for university students with the IAB on this legislation and it potentially being part of the curriculum now.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I know. It's really interesting. The group we talked with was so engaged with the topic because it is a huge shift for the marketing landscape for food and
Mm.
hospitality. So it's very dynamic. It's very engaging
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
challenging, massively challenging. There's no hiding from the point of the fact that for some brands, for some restaurant hospitality brands, this is a huge
Mm.
challenge.
So I was going to ask you, who's impacted by this? Who are you seeing that's being the most impacted by it?
Well, that's another thing that's worth pointing out is it's only organizations with 250 or more employees. And obviously, it's those who have a menu which is mostly less healthy. So we're talking pizzas, burgers, any breaded items like fried chicken. And then the question a brand needs to look at is whether they reformulate their menu, adjust their menu so that it scores well, and they look at the ways they can advertise their brand. It's bringing to the fore as well again, the importance of brand power, brand strategy, because brand advertising is excluded from the legislation. So it's food product only. So the stronger your brand, the better your kind of brand vision and brand strategy, the more confident the marketing teams can be to make decisions in amongst this new ruling.
Okay, excellent. So how much are you seeing that this is impacting businesses at the moment in, with not necessarily the clients you work with, but in the wider sort of sector?
Where I'm seeing a mixed bag
Mm,
of actions. You have a sliding scale of people who are not wanting to risk a fine.
mm.
At the moment, we don't know exactly how this will be what's the word?
Policed?
Yeah, policed. Um, the body that will do the policing is the ASA, the
Mhm.
Advertising Standards Authority. And they themselves have said that this is a very, very complicated new legislation, and there's areas of great complexity when it comes to influencers, for example.
Mm.
But it will be policed, it will be monitored, and they will monitor it based on complaints that come through, whether that's from customers, competitors, which is where I personally think most of this is going to come from. On the sliding scale of effort and risk and making an effort to be compliant, if I was a brand and I was investing a lot of time and money into being compliant and I saw a competitor that was breaking the rules, am I going to let them get away with it? I don't know. But on the other side of that scale, you have obviously a industry that is firefighting every day. It's a priorities piece, and it's a appetite for risk and where they think that risk is. So it's very individual brand to brand. But the one consistent thing is talking to marketing teams that are expected to deliver strong, compliant campaigns, be it whether that brand wants to be on the left or the right side of the legislation, they need confidence. And without confidence in what next steps to make, they are holding back, not taking advantage of an opportunity that these changes always present an opportunity where people fall backwards. It's the ones that move strong forwards that take it. And when we've got quite periods of time like Easter coming up, the
Yeah.
brands that really know what they're doing can shout the loudest and most confident. So, yeah, the consistency is having a confident marketing team in amongst it.
Have you seen any examples of brands sailing a bit close to the wind in terms of what they're advertising? It's made you stop and go, that's a bit tight.
Well, yeah, being honest, there's a lot of uncompliant advertising out there. Yes. And I'm using that to my advantage and messaging them saying, do you know what that this is still in existence, or is this are you just ignoring it for the moment? So yeah, I have seen some, continuing content. I think the reason why this is crept up on our sector at the sort of level that we're talking, which is maybe national chains,
Mhm.
national brands in the UK versus um, global brands. Global brands have been preparing for this for years, for a long time. They've known it's coming. But what was the shift? The shift has been that online piece, the online inclusion within this ban has been unknown up until really October last year when it got absolutely finalized. So personally, I understand why some brands aren't quite all the way up to speed, but I don't think there's much time left until you're going to really be expected to be up to speed.
No, that's a fair comment. Okay.
Mhm.
Who do you think will come out on top in all of this?
Honestly, it will be the brands that build a confident marketing team to just make decisions. At the top of the tree within the hospitality business, the top of the tree doesn't want to be thinking about this. I completely understand why when I bring this question to C-suite, it's just, a little over the head because we've been here before, tube advertising, there's
Yeah.
rules around HFSS with advertising on the tube. But the problem is that's not how your delivery teams see it and feel it. And that's where you need the confidence because that's where the power is going to come
Mm.
from. If you're of the belief and understanding that marketing is an important area to invest in. So yeah, I think the brands that get to know the rules inside out to see where their opportunities are, because I can see it for every single brand. I know where the opportunities are. Um, and the marketing teams just need to be confident to lean in and go hard, I think, where it's legal.
Yes. So, are there any examples that you've seen of great content where a brand has, I don't mean tried to get round the ban, I don't mean that at all, but actually they've produced great content for a brand that's perhaps not deemed to be so LHF friendly, as it were.
Yeah, I have actually. So Wingstop.
Love
Um
Wingstop.
Yeah, they're a fantastic brand. I don't know them personally and I didn't work on this campaign, but I noticed a video, it got shared in one of the groups that we're in, and it was focused on the corn on the cob. So whether or not Wingstop's main menu items
Mm.
are or aren't LHF, I couldn't say. But the focus on the corn on the cob is just a really interesting reflection of a brand taking this seriously and leading the way. Lord, like putting, a strong foot forward to say we can do this. It's, this is what it's going to look like. Funny, speaks to their brand, to their audience demographic. It was very a simple idea executed very well. So yeah, that's been a great example
Okay, great. How have you seen hospitality businesses generally respond to this ban, would you say?
with deep, deep fear.
Is it like whites to their eyes time?
Yeah, it is, but it's also confusion
Mm,
and slight overwhelm. Especially when it comes to the influencer piece, which um, again, confidence in next steps for brands and marketing teams, especially when we're talking about, if you've got a site, you've got 50 sites and each of your restaurants is having influencers come in and you can feel the overwhelm build.
yeah.
But there are just some simple rules that we can put in place to give those teams confidence. Mostly it's been around the complexity of it. And it does become clearer to people as you explain, like where and what are the limitations and just building the rules. It's a bit like how things were when GDPR came in. It's like, okay, well, what is this? And now we're all pretty much, you know, it's
It's
just
part
part and
normal.
parcel.
Yeah.
It's just normal. So everyone will get there. The ones that get there more quickly, more confidently, and can work in with these new rules will
Okay.
do well.
And how are you personally or your business, how are you working with the hospitality sector on this?
Yeah, well, it depends because as I said, each group, each brand will have different areas of
Mm.
concern. It could be a brand piece. We need to bring the brand front and center, or it could be a knowledge piece. We just want to have our guardrails for our influencer strategy. So yeah, I'm looking at I'm doing some workshops with some brands either on specific campaign ideas or just writing their structure and guardrails and processes for influencer or paid advertising, depending on which areas that brand is most focused.
Brilliant. So if there was one takeaway from people listening to this today, what would you say to them is the one thing they should be checking, doing, ensuring is happening in their business?
Well, it's hard to have one thing with this legislation.
Yes, I can imagine.
I think the first thing to do, but it won't be the only thing, is to just really know what your menu, which parts of your menu are or aren't compliant.
Compliance. Yes.
Because you may think your menu is going to be all in scope, and it may not be at all because of the categories. So that's the first thing to absolutely do. If you find that, yeah, your whole menu is completely out of scope, then the next thing I would think about is, as a brand, as a group, thinking far further ahead. What do you want from this business? How reliant are you on the product, the brand? What's the vision? What's the future? How do you future proof? And start to think a little bit outside the box. If you've always been reliant in on product shots and the brand has fallen by the wayside, that's just a bit of an exploration to do. Um, so yeah, it's very difficult to just do one thing. I now want to talk about all sorts of other areas, but that's why I caveated it at the start. This could not cover everyone's.
Everything. We can't cover it
Yeah.
all in 10 minutes or so.
No.
Absolutely. Kitty, thank you so much for your time today. I've learned a huge amount, in our chat just now. So thank you. I really appreciate you coming on to talk to everybody about this. And thank you again.
Oh well, thank you so much, Joe. It's been fun.